Timeless tales for kids.
The Little Red Riding Hood. In a peaceful village surrounded by tall trees, colourful flowers and green hills, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Little Red Riding Hood. Everyone in the village knew her because of the bright red cloak with a hood she wore, a special gift from her loving grandmother. One clear, sunny morning, her mother baked a loaf of warm, fragrant bread and churned some creamy butter. She carefully placed them in a woven basket and called Little Red Riding Hood. "Your grandmother isn't feeling well," she said with concern. "Can you take this basket to her? But remember, sweetie, always stay on the main path, don't stop to play, and don't talk to strangers." Hugging her mother, Little Red Riding Hood nodded and said, "I promise." Holding the basket, she began her journey, listening to the birds chirping and watching butterflies dance around flowers. But deep in the woods, the cunning wolf saw her. He approached her with a fake friendly smile. Little Red Riding Hood, being innocent, didn't realize that the wolf was up to no good. She chatted with him and mentioned her visit to her grandmother's house. The wolf, always looking for mischief, thought of a sneaky plan. Taking a shortcut he knew, he reached the grandmother's house way before Little Red Riding Hood. Once there, he tricked the old lady by pretending to be someone else. After locking her in a big wooden closet, he wore her nightgown and cap and lay in her bed disguising himself. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived, she felt something was odd. "Grandmother," she said slowly, "why do your eyes look so big today?" The wolf, trying his best to sound like her grandmother, replied, "So I can see your lovely face better." As she continued asking about her grandmother's big ears and especially big teeth, the wolf grew impatient. Just as the wolf was about to reveal himself, the door burst open. A brave woodcutter from the village, who had overheard the wolf talking to Little Red Riding Hood earlier, came to the rescue. With his big, strong axe, he scared the wolf away, ensuring safety for both Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. Relieved and grateful, Little Red Riding Hood hugged her grandmother tightly. That day, she learned a very important lesson about being careful and listening to the advice of her elders.
Jack and the Beanstalk. In a tiny village, there was a boy named Jack. He lived in a small house with his mother. They didn't have much money and only owned one cow named Milky White. This cow was their way to get money because she gave milk which they sold. But one day, Milky White stopped giving milk. Jack's mother was worried. She told Jack, "We need to sell Milky White so we can buy food." So the next morning, Jack took Milky White on a path to the market. On the way, he met an old man with a kind smile. The man looked at Jack and said, "I have something special for you." He showed Jack 5 shiny beans and said they were magic. Jack was curious and traded Milky White for the beans. When he got home, he was excited to tell his mother about the magic beans. But she was upset. She said, "Oh, Jack, these beans won't feed us." She threw them out of the window and sent Jack to bed. The next day, when Jack woke up, he saw something amazing. A huge beanstalk had grown from the beans and reached up into the sky. It looked like an adventure waiting to happen. Jack decided to climb it. After climbing for a long time, he reached the top and found a big castle. He went inside and saw many large things, like a big table and a big chair. He realized a giant lived there. Inside the castle, Jack found bags of gold coins. He also saw a golden goose that laid shiny eggs and a beautiful harp that played music on its own. Jack wanted to take them to help his mother, but he had to be careful. Every time Jack tried to take something, the harp would play a loud tune. This would wake up the giant, who would shout, "Fee-fi-fa-fum, I smell someone here." Jack had to hide and run fast. Jack visited the castle a few times, taking gold, the golden goose, and the harp. But the last time, the giant saw him. Jack ran to the beanstalk and climbed down as fast as he could. The giant followed him. When Jack reached the bottom, he called out to his mother for an axe. He used it to cut down the beanstalk. The giant fell and was gone forever. With the treasures from the giant's home, Jack and his mother had enough money and food. They were happy and lived well. Jack learned that it's important to make good choices and be brave.
The 3 Little Pigs. Once, in a
big, bright meadow with colorful flowers and tall grass, there lived 3 little pigs. These brothers thought it was time to each make a house to live in. They all had different ideas about what kind of house they wanted. The first little pig, who loved playing more than working, said, "I will make my house quickly." He picked up some straw and built a house in just one day. He was so happy that he spent the rest of the day playing in the meadow. The second little pig, who liked to think things through but didn't want to work too hard, said, "I will use sticks. They are stronger than straw." It took him a few days to gather the sticks and build his house. When he finished, he sat outside, playing a tune on his flute. The third little pig was the oldest and the smartest. He said, "I want a house that will keep me safe." So he decided to use bricks. It took him a long time to build because he wanted everything to be perfect. But once done, he had the strongest house of all. A few days later, a big, hungry wolf came into the meadow. He saw the 3 houses and thought, piggy dinner." He went to the straw house first and shouted, little pig, let me come in." The first little pig was scared and replied, "No, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." The wolf then blew on the house, and it fell down easily. The scared pig ran to his brother's stick house. The wolf followed him and said the same thing. The second pig replied, just like his brother. But even this house of sticks was no match for the wolf's strong breath. It fell down too. Both pigs ran as fast as they could to their eldest brother's brick house. The wolf tried to blow down the brick house, but he couldn't. He tried again and again, but the house was too strong. Then he thought of climbing the chimney to get inside. But the third pig guessed the wolf's plan. He put a big pot of boiling water at the bottom of the chimney. As the wolf climbed down, he fell into the hot water. "Ouch!" he screamed, and ran away as fast as he could, never to come back. The 3 little pigs were so happy and safe. They thanked their eldest brother for building such a strong house. They learned that taking time to do something right is always the best choice.